Hi, welcome back to episode 39. And this is an exciting episode. We get to witness through these writings what the wedding was like for Yeshua and Mary Magdalene. So take it away.
Absolutely. So before we start, I just wanted to mention that I was recently reading the Gospels of John, written in French, right?
Oh, right.
And directly
Okay.
translated from Greek,
Okay.
which is, probably one of the shortest way you could see.
Right.
And John was attending that wedding, although he never mentioned that it was the wedding of Yeshua.
He just said a wedding.
A wedding.
He was
yes.
at a wedding.
Right. They were
Right.
invited to a wedding. Yeah.
Okay.
And when you read that, I forgot which number it is, but when you read that telling, it is completely, it makes no sense.
What makes no sense in it? Will you be able
The
to...
story.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I mean, it was in French, so, and directly translated again from the Greek. So, we basically, and we know that John was writing in Greek.
Oh, he was writing Greek?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Because
Yeah,
I thought most of it was like Aramaic.
No. John knew the Greek.
Okay.
He was a scholar, so he was writing in Greek, and it has been directly translated from the official stuff, supposedly official. But you realize that this has been redacted, edited, censored. It makes
Just like a lot
no
of things.
sense.
So, yeah.
Nothing makes sense. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, for the people who are more open-minded, we are going to move away from scripture and get into the memory of nature. Okay. And so, contrary to the traditions, Yeshua and Myriam are deciding of the day of their wedding. In those days, parents and the priest were deciding everything.
Right.
It's probably like in certain culture today where everything is planned. And the spouse and I just have to show up and and
Right.
things happening.
That's the best way to do it.
Yeah.
No fighting. Everything gets done.
It was the way they did that because it was a way for them to alleviate the heaviness of the traditions and to clearly show to all the people their independence from rituals, from rules, which in Yeshua's minds were obsolete. Okay, so I think he was communicating a message here. So his uncle, Joseph of Arimethea, and who also was the adoptive father of Myriam, was the master of ceremony and of the feast, that would last about 3 days. So he had organized everything. And Uncle Yusuf, was seeing in the union of Yeshua and Myriam a celestial logic, a necessity which represented an unavoidable love written in time. I can imagine that those two have been together in previous incarnations, right?
Right.
And he was perfectly right, and I think hopefully our presentation will make it more obvious that this wedding needed to take place.
Right.
Yeah. So the love that has grown between Yeshua and Myriam is not a human love as commonly understood, It is a physical attraction, of course, but it's also a love of the souls.
Mm-hmm. It's a little more deeper.
Yeah, much more deeper. Yeah, a love of
deeper.
complicity, and a mission to push beyond what can be imagined or declared. Yeah. So Yeshua is convinced about that. He's fully participating into the game, but Myriam is not always perceiving it yet. And Yeshua needs to talk to her on a regular basis, to awake what is buried in her heart.
Yeah, she probably has to open up that heart chakra.
So he knows that she's breathing life and things are progressing well. But sometimes, she's still, and as the audience may remember, she was previously married to a man who was not very pleasant, alcoholic, brutal, violent. So she left him. And I think, she probably has some wounds that she needs to heal.
Well, that's hard to do it those days.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Gosh.
Yeah.
I don't know how she was able to do that.
So the location of the wedding was actually a small place called Cana, where the view of the sea is possible. So I think it's important to tell our audience that, in fact, they were not married in the town or the city or the village of Cana, but in a property that Yusuf owned that was overlooking the sea, much further away from the city of Cana.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that exact location, it's actually the place where they got married is in today is in the southern part of Lebanon.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and it's undergoing archaeological research.
Oh,
Because they would like to find that place.
I hope they find it.
Yes. So Yusuf there had a beautiful property, very simple, but big enough for this kind of celebration. In addition, it was also a lot safer to celebrate the union of two people like Yusuf, like Yeshua and Myriam,
Right.
in a remote place, far away from Jerusalem or even the lake, where he was
Well,
teaching.
he's got so many people following him.
Exactly.
Right? I mean, it's
exactly.
just, and
yeah.
you don't want things to get back to
Right.
authorities.
So Yeshua was already noticed enough, by a lot of people, and he didn't want to draw more slanders, especially since he was marrying a woman who had already been wed to another man.
Right.
So that was a big problem. So the other man, we need to mention his name, Paul, the famous Paul, who wrote 2/3 of the Bible.
Oops.
So
Oh, no.
And as Yeshua was saying, sometimes the vision of someone else's happiness can irritate many people. So, of course, knowing Yeshua, his humbleness and everything, he had requested a very simple celebration. And his uncle Yusuf had agreed to that, but nevertheless invited a lot of people.
Well, he's a pretty prominent person.
Right.
Right.
He's very, very
he
famous.
Probably needed to do.
Yeah. So a lot of people from the village of Cana walked to his place, and were invited as well. Yeah. And the amount of people led to that famous story of the shortage of wine, as the story goes.
Oh,
right?
okay,
Yeah.
right.
We have heard about that one, right? Another one of the miracles. So 2 days before the wedding, Myriam, she arrived with her father Yusuf, adopted father, her son Marcus, and numerous guests. And from Jerusalem, they walked to the sea and boarded one of Yusuf's boats that took them all the way to the property of Yusuf, overlooking the sea.
How nice.
So, and our audience can see on the map.
A little cruise before the wedding.
A little cruise before the wedding, exactly. Yeah. And Yeshua on his side came earlier, and he was walking through the countryside. And he passed close to the Carmel School of Mystery, which is actually south of the place where they got married. And that, of course, brought back a lot of memories for him. Yeah. So Yeshua, very early, the day of the celebration, decides to join Myriam on one of the roofs, the terrace where, she's being prepared. And of course, that was contrary to the rules.
Right. You're not supposed to see them.
Exactly.
Right.
But Yeshua did it. He knew it was a time when Myriam was being prepared and her hair were adorned with a large number of pearls. That's what they did at that time, yeah.
Nice.
And each one of those pearls having been dedicated to a virtue or a hope.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Wow. This is a sacred wedding, isn't it?
Yes. And for Yeshua, it was already a sacred moment,
Yeah.
And so all along this presentation, we're going to go into a lot of details about the wedding. And I think it's important to show that because the scriptures are not relating anything. Well, of course, it was not Yeshua's wedding. So
right.
Why would they talk about it?
And Mary Magdalene was a prostitute.
Exactly.
And so, yeah.
So Yeshua sees Myriam. She's wearing the traditional red dress that is used for the weddings,
That's interesting. She's wearing red.
She's wearing a red dress, yeah. And she's looking at Yeshua while two women are adorning her, okay? At one point, and while Yeshua was saying a prayer, Myriam looked at him with eyes full of love and said, "Oh, Rabboni, my Rabboni." So Rabboni is actually a very endearing term instead of rabbi.
Right, Rabboni.
My
little Rabboni.
My little Rabboni. Yeah. And Yeshua is receiving those words with a lot of joy, as Myriam is expressing actually all her fragility and love, through those words. So our Yeshua is grateful of that moment and the opportunity for the woman and the man to express such love. He's always looking for these kind of things. The heart had to be spontaneous. Yeah. That's what he likes about human beings. And a moment later, Yeshua takes her left hand and kisses her fingers. And because he did that, because he knows that there is a direct connection, a nadis, which is an etheric canal, basically, between the annulary finger and the heart.
Oh, and the annulary finger, is that
that's the one where you
finger?
Put the ring finger.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So there is a direct connection on the left hand between that finger and your heart.
Wow, interesting. I never knew that.
And that's probably why, people who are wed are wearing a ring on the left hand, on that specific finger, yeah. And so the hand was for Yeshua a bridge between the mundane and the sacred, again. I guess each part of the body has some kind of sacrality and purpose, but
it does.
For him, the hand is really the bridge between those two. And after her last kiss on her hand, Yeshua decides to leave the terrace, feeling already very happy. In his heart, everything was perfect with Myriam, his beloved, as he called her. And he was trying to reminisce about, what their life had been. And he realized that everything went so fast between their first encounter in Jerusalem, in the house of Uncle Yosef, right? And his successive visits in Migdal,
Right.
And then, a few months later, here they are being married.
Why waste any time?
Yeah. So the way the ceremony took place is quite different from the way it is taking place nowadays, especially in our Western culture. So the wedding ceremony starts, and Myriam and Yeshua are sitting directly on the floor made of flat stones. So they're probably in a garden somewhere, or near a house. And they are facing each other. And above their head is a large piece of blue linen with white edges, so a very beautiful piece of fabric. So that canopy is held by 4 men on each corner. Yeah. So it's probably, quite wide and quite big. Yeah.
Right.
And our eyes have closed. There is also Myriam, the mother of Yeshua, and she's on the first row of the guests, so the guests are all around, and she's sitting on rugs and pads. So Myriam, the mother, is dressed in white.
Oh.
Completely in white, yes.
The mother's in white, okay.
Yeah, with a few turquoise pearls in her hair. So you can imagine how beautiful that must be, right? Yeah. And Yeshua looks at her and he's surprised to see her so beautiful, He hasn't seen her, I guess, for a little while, and he sees her soft face, She looks like she was no more than 15 years old, from what he described,
Right.
She must have looked like this when she married Yosef, the father of Yeshua.
Right.
So Uncle Yosef, who is the master of ceremony, is next to her, showing that he is placing the Essenian traditions first and accepting that men and women are mingled. Traditionally, in the Hebraic tradition, the men will be on one side, the women on the other side. Perhaps
there's a lot of traditions like that.
Perhaps like the Arabic tradition, the Muslim,
do that too.
So, but the Essenian have different traditions, and he wanted to show to everybody that women were as important as men.
Right. Oh, how nice is that?
And Yosef on his hand is wearing a long talit, which is some kind of long gown.
Oh, okay.
Typical gown, and he's praying fervently, with 108 pearls necklace.
Oh, okay.
And next to Yosef is Marcus, the son of Myriam. We have to remember that Myriam had a son. She has a son, Marcus, who is probably close to 16 or 17 years old at that point, from her first husband, Paul. Yeah. And next to them are Eleazar and his sister Martha from Bethany. And so Yeshua is very happy to see Martha again, because
Right.
this is the second time he sees her,
Right.
and he remembers her. And he noticed that her eyes are looking downwards, so maybe she was shy, or she was intimidated by this
Yeah, she was probably intimidated, right?
And so the ceremony starts with two men blowing into what they call enormous shofars to open the ceremony. So
can you tell me what a shofar
So the
is?
shofar is actually the horn of some kind of animal. I don't know exactly if it's a ram or something like that. I mean, it's quite big horns, which have been hollowed out, and they use that as like a trumpet.
Oh, it's like a little calling.
Yeah.
Little music.
And I was able to find pictures, so we will display what it looks like. Yeah. And so the sound of those shofars is resonating in the place, and Yeshua is already out of his body. He's not entirely present at this moment, and the only thing he remembers is the breathing of Myriam next to him, and she's almost panting.
Oh, wow.
I mean, she must be.
She was very nervous. Maybe
she was
it was
probably
hot.
Nervous. Yeah, probably hot. Nervous too, and nervous because she has been already married, and she's probably still carrying that wound, and wondering what other people saying about that. Right. She probably was a very rare, maybe the first woman in our community to do this kind of thing.
I'm sure. Yeah, that wasn't very common.
Yeah. And so part of Yeshua is observing from a vantage point. He realized the weather is perfect. Blue sky, I mean, nice weather. The sea can be seen in the distance. You can even see the waves and the boats floating.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah.
What
So
a nice view.
The fact that you can see that clearly proved that the wedding did not take place in Cana, as reported by the scriptures. Yeah. And his expanded consciousness, struggles a little bit to come back into his body, because he's enjoying the flying, so much. Yeah. And he looks at Miriam's eyes, and she looks at him, and they seem to be telling each other, there, it was meant to be, and it is so right and so good. So for hours, because it really lasts hours, rituals and songs are going to be told. Incenses and resins are being burnt, enveloping the new couple.
Can't see each other.
Yeah. And finally, what is the most poignant moment for Yeshua comes. And I want to describe that moment, which is so important for him, and because it's so different from what we are doing nowadays. And this is the moment that could only happen after all the official sacraments had taken place, right? So this moment is what they call the stringing of the basha. And this is a long piece of thread on which you are stringing 108 pearls.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And then you're going to turn it into a necklace, right? Right. And that basha is destined to unite the spouses, one facing the other. And we're going to see how it works. Yeah. Okay. So the priest, before doing that, the priest just drew a square using ashes around Yeshua and Myriam. Okay. So you have to picture them, sitting on that flat stones, and then the priest is spreading ashes in a square around them. And then he's spraying them with water perfumed with cedrat. And the cedrat is a variety of citrus. Okay. So, they are being sprayed with this very perfumed water. And finally, the priest is drawing a large circle around the two spouses, again, using the ashes. Okay. So there is a square, the spraying of the perfumes, and then the circle. Okay. Yeah.
Wow, I wonder what all that symbolism means. Do they explain it?
No, they don't explain it. I'm sure it would be possible to find that.
Yeah, it's interesting.
And at that point, Myriam and Yeshua are handing to the priest a little basket containing 108 pearls of different colors. Oh. And there is on top of the pearls, there is a little thread of linen, which is placed on top, and that is going to be used as a carrier, as a thread on which you are stringing all the pearls. And each pearl is going to be strung on the linen rope by each attendee.
Wow.
Yeah, patiently, one after the other, until the number of 108 has been reached.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
And the
That's
interesting
amazing.
part, and that I think this is why Yeshua loves it so much, is each pearl is strung with a specific intention and wish for the two spouses.
Oh, I love that. Why did we lose that tradition?
I don't
That's
know.
beautiful because it's really just bringing the
Yes,
whole community.
exactly.
The community is really
Family
a real
and
witness.
community, yes.
Yeah.
And
It's
they are
nice.
actually active participants.
Yeah, and
in
setting
it.
intention,
Yes.
right?
Mhm.
Mm.
So the priest is giving the basket, to Uncle Yusuf, and is giving the honor for the first pearl. But Uncle Yusuf is going to create a little commotion among the assistants.
Uh-oh.
Because he's giving the rope and the basket of pearls to Myriam, the mother of Yeshua.
Oh,
Anyway,
that's sweet.
yeah,
That
he's
is
such a
very
gentleman.
sweet,
Yeah.
yeah.
And he wants her, to be the first one
Right.
to string the first bead.
As she should be.
She should be, yeah.
As a mother.
Yeah. Myriam is obviously, very touched by that gesture, and she accepts to take the baskets, And Yeshua is absolutely super happy that she will be the first one, And he remembered that she took a blue pearl from the basket and pronounced the name of Yasamana, which is the jasmine.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
Yasamana, okay.
Yeah, Yasamana. And she said, I am asking the softness and smoothness of the Yasamana for both of you.
They're going to need it.
Yes, that's exactly what Yeshua feels.
Yeah.
He feels that his mother had some kind of premonitions that the path for both of them was going to be difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah. And our audience may remember, we briefly talked about that, but Myriam, the mother of Yeshua, was a Vestal in the Essenian fraternity, in the main temple. And she had a lot of vision and premonition, and she used to keep them always for herself.
Oh, okay.
She rarely...
So she was a seer, but didn't...
Yes, she didn't... Yeah.
Express too much.
So slowly, very slowly, as you can imagine, the Basha, is going to be built, adding one pearl with intention at a time.
So do they say the intention out loud, or is it just something that they do like in a...
that was not specified.
Wasn't expressed.
But we can imagine that some are voicing it and
Right.
others are, keeping it for themselves. But that's what it is. And finally, at the end, after 108, I mean, you can imagine that this takes a little bit of time.
I was going to say.
Right? Finally, at the end, Uncle Yusuf ties the two hands of the shred, and gives the basha to the priest. And at that point, the priest is going to cross the basha like in a figure 8, right?
Oh.
And he's going to slit the two loops around the neck of each of the spouse.
Oh, so they gotta be like this.
Yeah, they're actually very close to each other, right?
Right. I know it's 108 beads, but
right.
still,
I mean, those beads were big at that time, Yeah. And that was the sign that the union was complete in front of the divine.
How beautiful is that? Oh
so
my
you have to picture, those two spouses, with the basha crossing.
Oh my gosh. Wow. We're missing a lot now these days. I think.
Yeah. Oh, well,
Right?
it's different.
Well,
For sure it's different.
Oh.
So the shofars are resonating again, those big horn, indicating the end of the ceremony. And at this point, all the attendants are spraying some water of Sidrat, again, that fragrant water, on the piece of fabric protecting Yeshua and Myriam. So those two are still tied by the neck under that canopy. And of course, Myriam started crying, quickly joined by Myriam, the mother.
Right.
And the two ladies ended up in the arms of each other, blending their tears and their veils.
Aww,
Yeah.
So sweet.
And Yeshua is, as always, observing, and he remains on the side, arms crossed, to keep all the love and emotion into his heart. It's like he's trying to retain it,
I'm going to feel all this.
And so we're going to make a little parenthesis and and this is the author of the book who basically say, why is this shared 2,000 years later?
Right.
Why
What is
all
it?
these details?
Yes.
And that the details of that beautiful ceremony, why is it shared?
Mhm.
So those details, and I hope our audience appreciate that, it is for those whose soul may enter in communion with Yeshua, right?
Right.
Yeah. It's not so much to know how an Essenian wedding was taking place, It is to communicate directly with Myriam and Yeshua. And for them to know that the human in Yeshua and its will to remain one was sharing the space of the incredible power of the Christ, right? So again, I want to explain more about that, but Yeshua is now completely inhabited, overshadowed by the Christic energy.
Right.
Yeah. But there is still in him something that wants him to believe like a normal human being.
Right. Well, you almost have to have a little bit of that to be here.
Yes.
Right.
Otherwise, who knows what he could become,
Right.
Yeah.
Or anybody understandable.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is very important. Yeah. And for him, again, it's the most important. It's the meeting of the divine and of the humans in training to become divine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's
Because
nice.
we are all humans.
We're all in training.
And
we're all divine.
And Yeshua realized, that for him to have this duality in him, it's represent a constant challenge. But he's accepting it gleefully. He's very happy about that. And he's also saying something interesting, which is that the offering of self, the renunciation to all, is something that all humans will have to go through one day. If we want to evolve, we have to go through.
Might take a few incarnations.
Yeah. So shortly after the ceremony, the feast is starting, and after dedicating many long hours to the divine, the guests are ready to celebrate in a more pagan way now, right? I mean, you can imagine that the ceremony lasted many hours.
Right.
And now they're probably hungry and thirsty. And so, and Yeshua is holding Miriam's hands, after he enters the feast, and he realized that he's now entering a place where the sacred does not exist.
Oh, well, yeah.
And again, I mean, that may shock, some people who likes to party and, celebrate, but Yeshua is living on a different level as we are.
Right.
And we may find okay to be drunk during a party, whatever.
Right.
For him, it's absolutely unacceptable.
Right.
Yeah. So, although he has prepared himself, for that pagan celebration or pagan feast, he finds very little logic to it. Yeah. So, in fact, most guests had immediately switched to the profane, creating a brutal contrast with the intensity of the ceremony and its state of grace.
Oh.
So that's, again, what Yeshua
Well, good
is
thing
saying.
it lasted a long time.
Right.
Yeah.
Even Eleazar, who is alone under a tree, is sharing the mood of Yeshua. And Eleazar goes, "Is it only food and wine from now on?"
Was he asking because he was happy about it?
I don't know.
Just like a little like, is this all we're going to do now?
He said, "It is you who is getting married, master. I mean, what's going on?
Right.
Look at those people. They are rushing to the
bar,
to the bar and to the wine and to the food." And Yeshua responds, "Whether it is me or someone else, it does not matter." The reason is quite simple. For the vast majority of human beings, the sacred remain like a vague presence or just an atmosphere, right? Which quickly becomes too demanding, too invading, and finally boring.
Oh.
Yeah. Anyway, so Myriam, the mother, overhearing Yeshua, smiles accordingly. She kind of agree with him. For her and Yeshua, it was exactly as if they were remembering of a time very long ago where the principle of profane did not exist.
Right.
And where the sacred and the light of the sacred was perceived as a source of joy for the life.
Like that was enough.
Yeah, exactly. And you didn't need to be drinking a lot or eating a lot or
Right.
to be happy and to
Right.
have to feel joy inside you. Yeah. And so both are nostalgic about it. Myriam, the new spouse, in the meantime, was looking for Yeshua. She was taken away by all the various guests, you can imagine, right? Yeah. And so, under a large pergola covered with vines, there are low tables which have been installed with wool rugs and cushions. So that's where and Myriam and Yeshua are reunited at the table, and while fruits, breads, cheeses, and dried fish are served in clay and wood trays. So I think it's interesting also to know what they are eating in this case. There is no meat because those are mostly Essenian people.
Oh, okay.
They respect life and they are not eating any mammals.
Okay.
Yeah, and in a corner there are multiple jars of wine and cups of metal and glass as well. And they even have some herbs beverages which are also available.
Oh, okay. Little mocktail?
Yeah, for people who are not drinking wine. Yeah.
I think that's great. Yeah.
And Yeshua, again, is observing all this and he's receiving all this like an immense gift from life. For him, he feels like it is one last rest before taking a long breath that would take him much further.
Right.
And probably further than what he was imagining. We know a little bit about that. Yeah. So of little importance to him was the attitude of the guest, clothes or not. Some that did not even know who he was.
Oh.
Yeah. They came because there was a food and the wine, right?
And they probably knew Joseph too.
Yeah,
right?
They may have known Joseph, yeah.
Unless they were wedding crashers.
But for Yeshua, everything was blessed in his heart, even the curious or the indifferent glances, or the ones that, or the people that wine had already taken away. Yeah.
Right.
And so during the dinner, Uncle Yusuf is going to start talking, handling quickly the center stage to Yeshua. And Yusuf is actually hoping it would be a good time for some teachings. And Yeshua is going to talk about joy and happiness. And I have a little recording of the story that he's going to tell the attendants about joy, how to express joy and how to live joy and how joy is important in your life.
Right.
And that story was told to him by no less than Babaji when he was in the Himalayas.
Oh, okay. That'll be good.
Yeah. People may remember that Yeshua studied with Babaji occasionally, and this is one of the
He would always pop out from around a corner somewhere. Right. There would be Babaji. Right.
So we will be putting that story in the middle.
Okay.
Yeah. My friends, in the land of the high peaks, the Himalayas, where I lived for a few years before coming back here, I once met an old man, and he told me his story. From his early youth, he dreamed of only one thing, to become a sage. For that, he first said to himself that it was absolutely necessary to be knowledgeable. So he looked for the most expert teachers. He listened to them. He learned the lessons from them. And he actually became very knowledgeable. But seeing that his knowledge was not enough to give him wisdom, he looked for the best ways to control his body, pray, and meditate. He therefore visited the most famous masters and imposed on himself, with their advice, the harshest of disciplines, until he almost no longer ate, so that his voice would be clearer and better perceived by the Eternal. In addition to being knowledgeable, he became very thin, to the point of being proud of it. Here it is. I have now become a sage, he thought, as he counted the growing number of disciples who gathered around him. They were all fascinated by his asceticism, the rigor of his words, and how his hair had turned white. One day, however, a large cloud burst while he was teaching. He got up to lead his assistants to a sheltered place. But in a clumsy move, he fell into the mud, tearing his beautiful robe. He was so furious that a huge curse came out of his mouth in front of all his disciples, who were stunned to see their master lose his composure. "It's not that bad, master," some of these disciples told him. "We will wash this robe and even give you another one." Because the master could not hide his anger and shame at not having been able to retain the dignity that seemed essential to him, his disciples came to look at him differently and left him one after the other. When he found himself alone, he told me, he began to cry. He felt he had been confronted by his own beliefs, and what he had taken for wisdom was no more than an illusion, since a simple storm had gotten the better of him. He then attacked the Lord by accusing him of causing his misfortune. Why had the Lord, to whom he had given everything, done this to him? 3 days later, the Lord sent his answer to him in the form of a young man with long brown hair walking by. The young man said, "Why are you crying, old man?" The old man confided in him his cruel disappointment in the twilight of his life. "Is that all?" replied the young man. "Let me tell you, the remedy is simple. If you had laughed at your fall, and even at not having been able to contain an expletive, your disciples would still be here to listen to you. They would have respected you all the more. Believe me, old man, knowing how to have fun with the thousand things in life and yourself is a divine quality. Without a sense of humor, learning is not worth much. Be a witness to it. He who has not made the standard of joy his own cannot really master anything in himself. The eternal is joy before he is all we think he is. It is from joy that everything proceeds, because it is simplicity and spontaneity. Joy is also love in a pure state, without calculation or borders. Joy is not knowledge, old man. It is the mark of knowledge, the sign of what unites with the Lord of our life. Call joy, let joy come. Discover what it is about. Do everything to surrender to joy, and you will find there the wisdom you have been looking for. The gravity to which men like you cling is not the primary characteristics of the divine. It is only the shadow cast in this world. Dazed, the one who had wanted to be a sage asked him, "Who are you to speak to me thus? Your young age does not allow you to give me such a lesson." "Who am I? A young man who is several centuries old, and who never ceases to have fun and laugh in contact with the celestial world. In joy resides eternal youth. In joy, wisdom takes root. No one can decide to conquer wisdom, even if he is the most learned of priests and pretends to be an ascetic. Wisdom builds its nest in the one who has made room in himself, the one who does not play a role and has no other goal than to participate in the joyful dance of life. After he said these words, the young man then slowly passed his hand over his face, revealing for a moment only a dead and mummified corpse. As soon as he regained his original appearance, he simply added, "You saw what I would look like if I had not invited joy into my body and was not breathing it right now. Do not forget it. Take off the disguises of wisdom and leave." The young man then went on his way, thus leaving the old man with the most beautiful of secrets. If I have told you this story, my friends, it is because I too met this young man with long brown hair. I saw the truth that lived in him. He let me touch it, and I felt it. He talked to me about my Father, and since then this truth has never left me, because it showed me the true youth of my heart. I tell you, joy is the youth of all souls. Let it spread where we want to invite the divine. And for the people who have enjoyed that story, the young man was Babaji. So using the sound of a little thof, which is a tambourine, and a flute, after telling the story, Yeshua is going to start dancing.
Oh.
Can you believe it?
No.
In front of everybody.
I don't picture that at all, but
No.
I'm trying to now.
And while dancing, he's thinking about the Lord of the Mountain, Shiva,
Okay.
who is dancing continuously in the universe, expressing the cosmic dance and the motion of the atoms.
Oh.
That's why Shiva is always dancing. Yeah. And Myriam, his wife, is very surprised to see Yeshua dance. She had never seen him express something with his body yet.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Okay. The evening's not over yet.
No.
Okay.
But and Yeshua, while dancing in front of the whole assembly, knew that a few people would be disturbed to see him like that. But it was an excellent occasion to remind them about the principle of the divine feminine. Again, the dance is quite often associated with women, right?
Right.
And so, actually, he didn't care about what people may think. He wanted to express the joy, and show to the entire assembly and the audience, that
it was a teaching.
Yes,
right? It was a teaching moment.
That it was a very, very special day for him. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes with the following words. He said, "It is from women that come birthing. So tell me, for which reason would the birth not come from the woman?" And again, this is kind of difficult to understand, but I suspect it is a parable to antagonize the scriptures, because in the scripture, God created man, right?
Man first, right?
Yeah, and out of a piece of man,
right, the rib,
one rib or whatever, he created a woman, right? Which makes no sense.
Makes no sense.
I mean, it makes sense when you understand the genetics and the way that extraterrestrial create life by splicing DNA, and
right.
That's what it means. But at that time, this concept could not be conveyed.
Right.
And so they said, okay, well, man was created first, and then a piece of it was used. DNA was used to create a woman.
Right. They simplified it.
Yeah, very much. And so a lot of the guests did not like such words because, again, the scriptures, are not agreeing with that.
Right.
But many women were touched by these words. Okay, so the men
because they're being recognized.
Yes, absolutely.
Like today, they were trying not to recognize us anymore. So I mean, this is
So while Yeshua is still dancing, quickly Uncle Yusuf, then Eleazar are joining Yeshua in his dance to the female principle. So the dance is dedicated to the female principle, and other people are joining them finally.
Yeah.
In the meantime, the assistance and the number of guests is increasing considerably because I think word of mouth,
there's food,
and they knew that they probably know that celebration and feast with Uncle Yusuf are usually,
pretty good.
Pretty good, yeah. And the waiters are overwhelmed, and the wine is being served abundantly. I mean, it's just
they know how to party.
Yeah. So at the end of the table, Miriam's hands in Yeshua's hands, he's observing the scene once again and forecasting what is going to happen. And it is Marcus, the son of Myriam, who is the first one to notice the shortage of wine.
Oh.
The famous shortage of wine.
Shortage of wine, okay.
Yeah. So Marcus talks to his grandfather, Joseph, about this shortage, and Yusuf in turn talked to Myriam, the mother of Yeshua. And Yusuf at this point is feeling ashamed about this shortage, because he likes to have everything planned.
He thought he planned enough.
Exactly,
Enough food
planned
and wine
in
and
a very
everything.
nice way, because he was the grand master of ceremony, so yes, Yusuf had planned with Eleazar to get more jars of wine, but the following day, not on that first day.
Okay. I have to cut everybody off.
Yeah, so the jars were coming too late. It was a panic,
Yeah.
So seeing the panic, and Yeshua being notified by his mother, actually he probably knew and felt it already. He discreetly notified his uncle and mother to not worry about anything. Okay. And Eleazar, his right arm, is put in charge to talk and instruct the oldest waiters and give them precise directions. And the directions are very simple. Go and get 6 large jars that you will find inside the house and fill them with water.
Oh.
And then you will serve these to the guests. That is all I am asking you to do. And at this point, Yeshua is connecting with Harun, his father, and is asking for the best possible wine that can be created.
That's so convenient.
Yeah. And while he's doing that, he can feel a soft freshness, which is filling up his head, and a golden taste, the nectar, which is awakening in his throat.
Taste the wine.
And that's how he creates.
Wow.
That's
amazing.
how he creates.
Yeah. We have to learn how to create like that.
Exactly, yeah. So in Yeshua's mind, everything was so simple, It was in the logic of the universe. And Yeshua was one with it. And again, contrary to what, many paintings and scripture have been telling, he's not even touching the jars. He's doing everything remotely.
Oh, telepathically sending it.
Yeah. I mean, the transformation is taking place outside of his immediate presence.
Right.
And so what is happening is that the spirit of wine went into the 6 jars of water, and as it was told, everybody was surprised that such a good wine was served so late. And again, the tradition was that you would serve good wine first, and when the people are drunk, you give them the low quality wine.
Then nobody tasted it, just want the alcohol.
So this was the 3rd round, and it was so good that they could not understand why it was kept
for hilarious. That they even noticed.
So Eleazar is the only disciple around Yeshua who knows about the trick, But young Marcus, the son of Myriam, has been following closely, and for him, this event is a revelation, which is actually triggering his awakening and ending that suspicious feeling he had against Yeshua.
Oh, was that ever mentioned? I don't remember that being mentioned. No. Okay.
But, Yeshua was no longer, for Marcus, the one that was marrying his mother.
Oh.
Okay? But now he was becoming the one that was going to rock his life and reconcile him by making him legitimate.
Okay. That's nice.
So now Marcus again had an official father. Right? So Yeshua is thinking, being marveled is so important and such a powerful and freeing feeling, It speaks all the tongues in the world and is a greater initiator than what we think.
Beautiful.
So on that evening, on that night, in a beautiful property of Uncle Yosef near Cana, tiredness is finally taking over. Okay. And all the torches are being extinguished one after the other. And Myriam and Yeshua are going to discreetly retreat in, as all the newlyweds know how to do it, into their room. And the room that has been prepared for them is a small square room with walls made of red dirt. Okay. And there is a star with 8 spokes, which has been painted, freshly traced on one of the walls. And again, that star with 8 spokes, is the symbol of the Essenian.
Okay.
And beautiful and thick wool rugs, mostly red, are on the floor. And there are many oil lamps which are burning in some alcoves, around the room. And Yeshua is taking one of these lamps and bringing it outside as a sign of no disturbance, right? It's please do not disturb the,
That's a little sign.
sacrality and
Right.
the intimacy of that
Right.
moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
And immediately in the obscure part of the garden, some songs are rising.
Oh,
And those songs are going to accompany the couple a good part of the night. So that's quite a beautiful
that's
ceremony too.
very nice.
Yeah. And so on the bed made of wood and ropes, all the bedding is made of the finest linen. I'm sure Uncle Yusuf, we didn't
Yeah, you
spare any.
sure? Yeah.
And Miriam and Yeshua are sitting on it, facing each other. Exhausted and touched, Miriam is crying a little bit.
Oh.
Yeah. It has been a
It's an
long day.
emotional,
Yeah,
long day.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's very difficult. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so before the fusion of the bodies, Yeshua wanted to talk to her. And they have not been able to do it much, because they are never by themselves.
Right.
And Yeshua wanted to talk about their love, but also about love with a capital L, the one which has created their reunion. It was not a teaching, it was not the time for that. It was rather an invitation to expand the souls and to become more conscious of the sacrality of this moment. Before the blooming of the flesh and the awakening of the senses, throwing bridges between worlds. So, so Myriam and Yeshua are going to speak about the true nature of love. And Myriam talks about the woman, and Yeshua talks about the man. And again, we have a little recording about the
A little bit of their conversation,
a little bit of their
thoughts,
a little bit
too.
of their conversation as
Mhm.
recorded by the Akashic memories. Yeah,
Right.
and we will be introducing that. Yeah.
I cannot describe to you the state I was in on the very evening of our marriage, when I found myself alone with him. Yeshua was officially my husband, and, for me, above all, my beloved. But in truth, beyond the law of men and that of the heart, who was he exactly? I was so small, so ignorant, so proud. It seemed to me, so why me? Why had he chosen me? While being amazed and captivated by the man I was discovering more and more, I felt a form of fear rising in my stomach. How was it that I, who had almost learned to pray for years, found myself there with, in a way, a living prayer? Where was my merit? These thoughts were so present that as soon as the door to our room was closed behind us, I shared them with my husband. Yeshua started to laugh.
Your merit? Oh, Miriam, that's not the way to look at things in this world. Many merits are not rewarded for a long time, and many errors are not corrected for a long time either. So change your perspective and observe what is, without considering either the past or future. Our world is that of necessity. It is in the intelligence of the present moment that such a truth can be understood.
A necessity? What you say seems terrible to me, Rabuni. If necessity is the motive that has presided over our meeting until today, leading us to our wedding, where is love? If your love is only on a sacred obligation, you're scaring me.
Miriam, love is the only necessity there is. Its intelligence rules everything. Any encounter that is truly encountered is recorded by our souls beyond time. This is why our marriage was necessary, inevitable, and bears the seal of love without having had to seek out merit or reasons. So we unite. I ask you, do not spin these words in your head. Only confidence in the correctness of living, in the heart of everything, will make you integrate the truth into your flesh. Look at the way this world lives. It laughs or cries, depending on what it thinks, should be or not be. It cares little about what divine equity places in its path. It cares not for the wisdom that presides over its destiny. It chooses to fight at all times for its own order of things. This is how it suffers, by cutting itself off from the loving necessity of relying infinitely on the source. To rely on the will of the Father of our life is ultimately the real challenge of this world, Myriam. Do you see that the only rebellion that deserves the name revolution is that against breaking away, because what makes men bow down is their separation from my Father? From the necessity that pushes love to take flesh, it is the real challenge and the revolution that I have to come to seek in you. Do you understand me?
I understand, but I still felt so unworthy of it. In Migdal, the master had announced to me that it was the freed woman. He was coming to seek in me. But freed from what? Certainly I had lived like a rebel since my flight from Saul's home. However, my revolt was limited against the laws made for men. Me? I still had my fears, my prejudices, my anger, my old survival reflexes. It was all very typically human. That evening, that night, I did speak, of course, to my husband about the indignity that I still felt was mine. At his request, we sat down facing each other in the small, earth-colored room where we were going to spend our first hours of marriage. Large, red woolen rugs had been laid out in numbers on the ground, and a large, eight-pointed star, the one that has always accompanied our people, had been painted in green on one of the walls. It seemed to be dancing in the warm glow of the oil lamps that had been scattered all over the place. Outside, the songs in honor of our nuptials are continued for a long time. They continued late into the night, long after darkness, and descended on the sharing of our love.
So on that night, all the aspects of the blessed one were able to fully express themselves.
What does that mean?
So, yeah, a few men and women, were brave enough to ask if the Christ had a sexual life and if he had met the flesh as closely as he was speaking about the spirit. And the answer is a resounding yes. Okay.
Well, he had that time with
Yeah, with
when he was raising his
right, with Mataji.
right,
Yeah.
yeah.
But this was
Vibration.
more a tantric
More
initiation.
tantric
Yeah.
stuff, right?
So through all his fibers, Yeshua lived a sexual life, and the Christic energy inside him lived it as well. Okay. So it is important to report that because of the lies and the hypocrisies that have been so prevalent in the scriptures. And again, I'd like to make a parenthesis here. I'm sorry to break that sacred moment, but I think it's so important to say that everything in the Catholic Church has been done to prevent Yeshua from having an amorous life.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, how could the Son of God lower himself to do that?
Right.
Because in their mind, you are lowering yourself.
Okay.
I mean, it's sad to say.
It is sad.
It is really sad to say, yeah. So everything
Well,
has
they
been...
were just trying to keep him high.
Yes.
Like he was this.
And because
which
of
he
that,
was, but...
because of that stupid and limited and restricting approach, they have been creating all these, priests and bishops and cardinals and everything, which were not allowed to get married.
Right.
And who have been doing atrocious stuff.
Right. Let's get back to this. This is much better.
So again, for Yeshua, the principle of the earth and the skies, as well as the flesh and the spirit, must meet and fuse. Yeah, that's what it is.
That's why we're here.
Yeah, and he's saying that since the oblivion, which is the fall of humankind, right? The spirit, the logos of the Son, wishes to meet again the biology of the cells. Okay?
So everything's connecting, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And the cells, the biologic part of us, cannot wait to be infused by the spiritual energy.
Right.
That's what we are desperate about getting,
Right.
And so this is why it's so important to merge, the sky, the earth, the flesh, and the spirit. So thus, if the divine seeks to come back today among women and men, it is to make sure that Yeshua's words are not amputated and modified like they were 2,000 years ago.
Right.
Yeah. In a similar way to the soul and body of humankind, the wounded cup represented by Myriam was screaming the urgency of a restoration. And again, for people who do not understand that parable, she was married before. She had a very difficult marriage, and she was not feeling adequate.
Oh,
It was like a wound in her,
yeah, right.
Yeah.
So she probably didn't feel good enough to be with Yeshua, you think?
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly. And I
right,
think
okay.
the recording we did from the
Right.
Akashic Memory shows that she's doubting herself.
Yeah.
And Yeshua is going to help her
Mhm.
heal that wound,
Mhm.
which is so important. And so when Miriam's tears are dry and when she was finally free from the tyrannies which had hurt her life and shaped her fears, Yeshua and Myriam made love and became one. And it was absolute purity, and they lived it in a way to create a germ in the consciousness of the entire humankind. Yeah, the goal was to infuse and put that germ
Right.
for humankind, to appreciate and enjoy it. Yeah. And so at the end of the night, when dawn came, Yeshua went outside the room and he expressed again his gratitude to Awan for having allowed him to grow even more as a human being.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the Christic energy was very happy also about what happened. And again, I think it's so important to express gratitude at every moment of your life. Yeah. And what Yeshua is doing something very sacred, very special. Using his fingers, is starting to trace in the invisible the song of the Shruti.
What is the Shruti?
The Shruti, we talked about that in previous. It's the song of the energy of nature, of Mother Earth.
Okay.
Okay, and in this way, all the love that was inside him will be rooted in this world. So it's for him a way to transfer what he's feeling inside him and to anchor it on the planet.
It can make me cry. Just having that, just knowing that he uses that symbol to do that. I mean, when we do Reiki symbols. And,
yes, exactly.
We know how powerful that is. And, so here he is energizing the planet with that. And I think that we are very fortunate to have had that experience here on this planet.
Yes.
Although I feel like, unfortunately, everything was dampened down. Everything was dampened down by the church. And
oh yeah,
I don't
did
understand
a terrible work.
why they would do that. Why were they just trying to
control?
Yeah, I guess, but
control and archonic presence.
Yeah, there was so much beauty in the union of a man and a woman, and yet they just
they remove all the sacred,
all the beauty
about it,
and the love, and really love to know what that symbol is that he was.
We probably never know. Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe it'll come to somebody.
Probably some Sanskrit words, that he was writing in the Esoteric. Because the most sacred language is the Sanskrit, on this planet. So I'm suspecting.
Is that the oldest language? No,
probably not the oldest, but it's definitely the most powerful and sacred today. Yeah.
All right. Wow. Thank you so much for joining us. It was so nice to be able to express all of this.
Yeah, and share
this with all of you, because I think it's really important for people to know that side of Yeshua and Mary Magdalene.
And the role of Mary Magdalene.
Yeah. So, thank you. We'll see you next time.
In the morning, the master was already up when my eyelids managed to open. A beautiful ray of sunlight slipped into the doorway. Through the half-open door, I saw his silhouette kneeling on the floor of the terrace, that extended our room. He prayed and made small gestures in the light, of which I knew nothing.